Attention passengers on flight 14, arriving now from Cairo and the Middle East. Will Miss Barbara Cummings, passenger from Singapore, please go to the reception immediately after customs inspection?
Miss Barbara Cummings?
Yes?
Mr. Wainwright is waiting for you in the reception. Don't worry about your baggage. It'll be taken care of.
BOAC announced the arrival of their flight number 12 from Cairo and the Middle East.
Cars around at the front entrance, Mr. Wainwright.
Oh, good. You'd better stay here and give Miss Cummings a hand with her luggage.
May I have your attention, please? Passengers on flight 573.
Cummings.
Please leave your friends in this lounge and follow the red lights, customs and immigration authorities.
Oh, Barbara, my dear.
Howard, it's good to see you.
Oh, well, how you've grown up.
5 years is a long time.
Yes, I'm sorry your homecoming isn't a little happier.
I came as soon as I got your cable. How did it happen?
Barbara, I've got a bit of a shock for you. The inquest was held last Wednesday. The verdict was suicide.
Suicide? But I can't believe it. Was there anything the matter?
No, but your father was never really a happy man after he quarreled with you.
For goodness sake, Howard, don't say I was to blame.
Oh, no. I don't mean that. But he was a man who was inclined to worry over everything.
How did he?
It was an overdose of sleeping tablets. But I shall always choose to believe that it was an accident.
Thank you, Howard.
Good morning, sir. Mr. Brooks is expecting you. Come in.
Miss Barbara, welcome home at last. Thank you, Mary.
How do you do, Miss Cummings?
How do you do?
May I say how very sorry I am about your father?
Thank you.
It's wonderful to see you, miss. You look prettier than ever.
And you haven't changed a bit, cook.
How do you do, Wainwright? How do you do? Please sit down. Well, now, ladies and gentlemen, I don't think we can wait any longer for Mr. Irving.
Is Robert coming?
Well, he's been notified that the will is to be read, but he's a busy man, so he may not come. I think we might proceed. I, Alfred Cummings of Green...
I'm not too late, am I? I raced along, but Barbara. It is Barbara, isn't it?
How are you, Robert?
But you've changed beyond all recognition. Why, you look absolutely...
Mr. Irving, we have begun reading.
I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
I, Alfred Cummings of Greensleeves Manor, Greensleeves, Sussex, revoke any former wills and make the following dispensation. To my chief clerk, William Halliday, £250. To my housekeeper, Mary Williams, £200. To Jessica Morton, cook, £100. To Robert Irving, my collection of African trophies he admired so much as a boy. To my daughter Barbara, the solitaire diamond ring which formerly belonged to her mother. On leaving England, she expressed a desire to be independent of me, and I have complied with her wish.
What a shame.
To the Charity for Orphans and Widows in Greater London, £500. To my friend and partner, Howard Wainwright, I leave the residue of my estate, including my share of our business, known as Cummings and Wainwright, with all the assets appertaining thereto. In memory of a long and happy association, it is my wish that he shall not change the name of this firm, and I feel sure that he will continue to administer its affairs as wisely as he has done in the past. In witness whereof I have hereunto set my hand this 22nd day of August, etc., etc. That is not all, however. A few days before his death, Colonel Cummings made a codicil. And instead of leaving the residue of his estate and his share in the business to Mr. Wainwright, it is now left to his daughter Barbara. The document concludes, although this bequest cannot compensate my dear daughter for the years of estrangement, I deeply wish her to see in it my desire to make up for any pain I have caused her.
Well, this is good news, Barbara.
But Howard, you haven't...
Oh, no, don't be silly. I'm a rich man. It's much better as it is. It shows that you and your father were friends before he died.
Yes, I'm very happy about that.
Awfully nice of the Colonel to remember to leave me all those stuffed alligators. They were my great joy in life.
I should think Cook and Mary would be jolly pleased to be rid of them.
Oh, but I wouldn't dream of taking them away from Greensleeves. I shall keep on coming down regularly. As long as you're at home, of course.
Yeah, I'm afraid we must go. We've got a lot of things to see to.
There's one thing, Miss Cummings. Your father was very interested in this charity he mentions. He intended to lend them one wing of Greensleeves as a children's home.
How like Daddy.
There was nothing settled, of course, but I know he would have liked it.
Don't worry, Mr. Brooks. I'll see that the charity doesn't suffer.
Thank you, my dear. That's what I expected.
Isn't it a dreadful thing, Barbara, that old friends like you and I shouldn't have met for so long? We must make up for it. What do you say to tomorrow morning?
Oh, I'm sorry, Robert, but...
Then this evening.
I think that Howard and I...
Well, this afternoon. What are you doing now?
I'm afraid that Miss Cummings and I have a lot of business to see to.
Oh, I'm sorry. I don't want to intrude. Barbara, it's been wonderful seeing you again.
And you.
Oh, tell me, by the way, when are you going down to Greensleeves?
Howard's driving me down today.
Good. I thought of popping down tomorrow morning to examine my zoo. You don't mind? Right. Goodbye.
Yes, we'll need a little peace and quiet when we come to examine the company's finances, Barbara.
Oh, don't bother about the finances, Howard. I shall leave all that sort of thing to you. Just come and help me settle in.
Very well. Now I'll run you down to the office.
No, Howard. I'll call for you there later. Something I should like to do first.
Oh, can I drive you in the car?
No, thank you. This is something I should like to do alone and quietly, without any fuss.
I understand. I'll see you later. Good day.
Good day to you.
Mr. Brooks,
Yes.
I'm going to be out of town for some time, and I'd like to arrange about the charity straight away.
Would you like me to get into touch with them for you?
No, thank you. I think it might be better if I went to see them myself.
Of course, yes. Well, let me give you their address then. It's, let me see, it's 34 Cornhill Yard.
34 Cornhill Yard.
Come in. Now, do let me know how he goes on.
Yes.
Please sit down, won't you? And if there's anything you'd like me to take to the hospital, you've only got to tell me, you know.
Thank you, sir. Well, I think I'd better be going now, sir. Don't want to take up any more of your time.
Oh, that's quite all right, Mrs. Green.
But the young lady, sir...
I'm sure the young lady won't mind waiting a moment. We're here to help people like you.
It's very kind, sir.
Oh, there's a funny noise. Now, there we are. That ought to help you.
Oh, thank you, sir.
And don't hesitate to come back to me if you find yourself in real diffiquities again. I'm
Thank
so
you
sorry
very
about
much,
your
sir.
husband. I hope he'll be out of hospital sooner than you think.
Thank you, sir.
Goodbye, Tommy.
Bye.
There we are.
Goodbye, sir.
Goodbye. Now, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting. Is there anything I can do for you?
May I introduce myself? I'm Barbara Cummings.
Not Colonel Cummings' daughter? Well, I am glad to see you. My name's Hughes. Oh, do sit down a moment. This little institution is really my affair. What a tragedy about your father. He was a real friend of ours. We shall find him a great loss.
That's why I've called, Mr. Hughes. The will's been read, and he left your charity £500.
500? Did he really? How very kind.
And for his sake, I'd like to offer you part of the estate for any children you think might need a breath of fresh air in the holidays.
Well, that is generous of you.
My father would have liked it.
You can have no idea what a difference that will make in the lives of these poor children. The suffering we see in doing our work is quite dreadful. Only gifts like yours, Miss Cummings, will enable us to carry on with a fresh heart.
Perhaps if you were to see the house, you could let me know what rooms you'd require.
I should love to. I should put all other work aside. I'm quite excited by this suggestion of yours. I shan't rest until I've seen it.
Well, I'm going down tomorrow, Mr. Hughes, so do come as soon as you can.
Shan't need a second bidding, I can assure you. Well, good day to you, and thank you again.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Oh, all these familiar places bring back so many memories. I remember riding along this road, and the shooting parties over at the marshes.
As I remember those, you were a good shot.
So was Robert. I wonder if he really is coming down. Hasn't changed much, has he? You know, he used to be my hero when I was at school.
Yes, people get some queer ideas when they're young.
Strange to come home and not find Father here.
Yes, it must be.
Welcome home, Miss Barbara. Thank you, Mary.
How does it feel to be back, miss?
It's lovely. It hasn't changed a bit.
Willie is overjoyed, miss. We couldn't keep him in the kitchen. Why, Willie, how nice to find you're still here.
Miss Barbara.
All right, now, Willie, go and get Miss Barbara's luggage. He's still as silly as ever, miss. I was going to put Mr. Wainwright in the blue room.
Very well, Mary.
You'll still be in the nursery, of course.
Of course. It's just as I've always remembered it. As I hoped it would remain.
Cook has excelled herself, miss. She's got a wonderful homecoming dinner ready.
Then we must do it justice, Mary. I'll go and change. Wainwright down yet, Willie?
I haven't seen him, miss. Miss Barbara? I've got something to tell you.
What is it?
It was I who found your father, miss.
So I heard. I'm sure you did all you could.
He was still breathing. He tried to speak. I couldn't hear him first. Then I understood. He was saying, it's in the safe at the office.
In the safe at the office?
Yes, miss.
Oh, I don't think that could be very important, Willie. He keeps lots of things in the safe.
But he was trying to tell me, miss, there's something important in the safe at the office. Don't tell anyone else, miss.
All right, Willie.
Oh, I'm so sorry to keep you waiting, my dear. I had some papers to go through.
Oh, that's all right. I've only just come down. Willie's built us a roaring fire.
Aha.
We can look at them in here after dinner. Help yourself to a drink.
No, thank you. And for you?
Please.
Mr. Wainwright, you're wanted on the telephone in the study.
Oh, thank you. Excuse me.
Certainly.
Hello? Yes, speaking. Who?
I think you recognize the voice.
I recognize the voice. I wish I knew the man.
We might meet one day, Wainwright.
You've had Leonard following me. There's no need for that. I suppose you know the will has been read. I've got nothing. I can't pay you. It all went to the girl in the codicil.
What?
Yes, he changed his mind just before he died.
Supposing the girl were to die, Wainwright?
Died? Well, what do you mean?
Use your wits. You didn't finish off the colonel in time. That was the trouble.
I won't touch the girl, I tell you.
You can't afford sentiment, Wainwright. If you haven't the guts to do it, I'll send someone else down.
But you'd better cooperate.
What do you want?
That's better. I want you to arrange a shooting party. It's one of her favorite sports.
She'd like it, Wainwright.
I can't do it, I tell you.
You'll do what you're told, or you'll hang for Cummings' death. Now just keep your mouth shut.
Unknown to the rest, there'll be another member of your party. Only he'll be after bigger game.
Are you still keen on shooting, Barbara?
I could tell it was you a mile away. You still ride with your toes in.
And I knew it was you. You still drive too fast.
You glad to see me?
Horrified.
It's a wonderful old place, isn't it? Takes me back years.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's very beautiful.
First back to the house.
Right, there's money on this. Come on, get your money ready.
Gracious, I appear to be the winning post.
Mr. Hughes.
I suppose you didn't expect to see me so soon. Well, I'm not giving you a chance to change your mind.
Oh, I won't change my mind. Oh, this is Mr. Irving, Mr. Hughes.
How do you do?
How do you do?
Mr. Hughes has come to see the house.
Well, he couldn't have chosen a better time. Barbara and I are just going to take our first walk around the house for years. You'd better come with us.
I hope I'm not intruding. Two's company, you know.
Think nothing of it. We hate each other.
Hey, Wainwright! What the devil are you doing here?
Just making certain preparations are complete.
Keep out of sight, you fool.
What are you worried about? No one can see us.
I don't want any part in this business.
Listen, Wainwright, if you know what's good for you, you'll do as you're told.
I won't have this girl in danger.
Sweet on her?
Don't be a fool. She's half my age. I've known her all her life.
What difference does that make? And you're a father?
For heaven's sake, keep your voice down.
Frightened if someone hears us? They will do if you don't play nicely.
What do you want me to do?
I want you to lead the party towards the marshes. Take them down towards the lake and send the girl on ahead. Make sure she's alone.
Then what?
Don't you worry about the rest.
Well, if you're sure you can spare the whole wing, Miss Cummings, it would suit us perfectly.
I'll be delighted if you'll take it, Mr. Hughes. We'll never use it again. A house this size is just a burden these days.
Yes, I suppose so.
I can't imagine when that wing was occupied last.
Well, I can. I used to sleep there every summer holiday in that huge room with the double doors.
And you think it would make a good dormitory, Mr. Irving?
Well, I used to sleep like a top, and there's a wonderful parky floor for roller skating.
I can assure you our children won't use it for that.
And they don't know what they're missing.
That's all right, Mr. Hughes. I'm sure it'll be well looked after.
You can be quite certain of that, Miss Cummings. We're only too grateful to you for letting us have it.
One of the chimneys has a broken shaft, and there's some slates missing from the roof.
Robert, I'm sure the children are not going up the chimneys or on the roof.
Weren't they? Why not?
Well, if we may begin the alterations immediately, I'll make the necessary arrangements.
Well, let's consider that settled.
Let me know when your architect is coming down, and I'll go round with him. Nobody knows that wing as well as I do.
Oh, thank you, Mr. Irving. Will it be convenient if I bring him down soon?
Come whenever you like.
Come tomorrow. We're having a shoot. You'd enjoy that. Across there by the marshes. It hasn't been shot over for years. Must be alive with game.
No, thank you, Mr. Irving. I don't hold with blood sports.
We'll be glad to see you any time, then, Mr. Hughes.
Thank you. Goodbye, Miss Cummings.
Goodbye.
Thank you again for your generosity.
Well, you certainly made his day, Barbara, as well as mine.
I think you nearly bought the house after the way you spoke about it.
I hate to think of the old place being sold. I'm too fond of it. Come on, let's go and look at those guns. Did you say that this shoot was Howard's idea? I didn't know that he was a sportsman.
Hello, Willie. You remember Mr. Robert, don't you?
Oh, you, Willie? I could never forget Mr. Robert. How's your gun, Miss Barbara?
Oh, look, Robert, hasn't he kept it in beautiful condition?
Yes, that's a nice job.
Thank you, Willie.
Have you got one for me? Where's that 1890 Turkish rifle we used to have? Ah, there it is.
Oh, don't be silly. You can't shoot anything with that.
I know, but I like to give the birds a chance. I might get an alligator.
I thought you'd take the Colonel's gun, sir.
Well, I think perhaps Miss Barbara might not like her.
Yes, please take it, Robert. There's no one else I should prefer to use it.
Well, thank you.
You will be careful tomorrow, miss. We lost a horse in the marsh last summer.
Oh, don't you worry about me. I'll be all right.
Who else are we asking?
I think the Fosters might come.
Well, let's phone them right away. You know I am looking forward to tomorrow, Barbara. It's going to be fun.
Morning, Arthur. Morning, Miss Barbara. Hello, baby.
Miss Barbara? Your gun, miss.
Oh, thank you, Willie.
Don't go too deep into the rushes, miss. The marsh is much worse than it used to be.
Don't worry, Willie.
Well, if we're all ready, shall we move off?
That appears to account for everyone. Has anybody the slightest idea who it might be?
Could be a poacher, you know, Inspector.
This doesn't look like a poacher's hat. Very well, then. If no one will help me, I shall have to ask you all to remain here until the body is recovered.
How very inconvenient.
People die in the most inconvenient places, Major.
Do you suspect anything?
I never suspect anything, sir. Not until I have a body, anyway.
This Godiva will be through to Australia by now.
Have some respect for the dead, Harry, whoever it is. What's this?
So no one recognizes this gun?
Never seen it before.
It isn't one of ours, Inspector.
You're sure, miss?
Is it, Willie?
Hello, they seem to have found something else.
Put it down here. Fairfield Police Station. Hello? Inspector Bain here. Yes, the body is recovered. No, not a local man. Send Dr. Lindsay as soon as possible. A shot through the chest from a few feet away. I'm afraid I have an unpleasant task for you. I want you all to have a look at this body. Does anybody recognize him?
No.
And you, miss?
I don't think so. But the face, I can't be sure.
Don't be silly, my dear. You haven't been in this place for years.
No, I don't think I can help.
Have you ever seen him before? What about you, sir?
Never set eyes on him, poor fellow.
And you?
I'm sure I've seen him, Robert.
But I don't see how you could have done. You've only been here a couple of days.
Of course, outside the solicitor's office. That's it, I must have seen him there.
Are you sure?
Almost. As I was going into the building, I turned round. He was on the other side of the road. I think Howard saw him, too.
But he would have told the police.
Mr. Irving?
Yes?
Are you related to the family, sir?
No, I'm not. I came down here to collect some
I
of
must
the
ask you to come outside with me, so the inspector wants a word with you.
I'm sure, Constable...
Oh, don't worry, miss. It's a routine check.
I shan't be long.
Miss Barbara?
What is it, Willie?
Something important, miss.
Not just now, Willie. I know all about the safe in the office.
No, miss, not that. It's about that man. I saw him early this morning when I took the horses out. He was in the field. Mr. Wainwright spoke to him.
Now, Willie, you mustn't make up stories.
I saw him, miss, by the thicket.
You must be very careful what you say.
Mr. Wainwright spoke to him, miss.
Have you told anybody else this?
Oh, no, miss. I don't believe in telling the police.
Oh, there you are, Barbara. We were just saying we might have a game of cards to while away the time.
Please do. The cards are in the study.
Thank you, my dear.
The inspector doesn't believe a word.
Now, I must see about lunch.
Look, no handcuffs. And not even a stain on my character.
Where's Howard?
I don't know.
Come along, Robert. There's something I want you to hear. Don't breathe a word of this to anybody else.
Oh, miss. You mustn't leave the grounds, you know.
Don't fuss, Higgins.
That doesn't prove anything. Poor old Willie, for all his good heart, he's got the mind of a child. He could invent anything.
I'm sure that was the man I saw.
You weren't sure before? Just because you see a man with a scarred face and Willie tells you
Father
a tale.
died trying to say something was hidden in the office safe.
Who told you that?
Willie.
Willie again. Willie would say anything. What are you trying to do? Build up a case?
Look, Robert. Supposing Howard did know the man who was killed, and Father had found something incriminating in the safe, then...
What are you getting at?
Perhaps he didn't commit suicide after all.
But good heavens, you surely don't believe that...
I don't know what to believe. I only know that if there's a chance of proving that Father didn't take his own life, then I'm going to investigate it.
You can't go to the police with a tale like this and no proof.
I don't want to go to the police. I want to go to the office.
What for?
There may be something there.
Have you got the keys?
No, Howard has.
Well, could you get them from him?
I can't very well ask him for the keys to rob his own safe.
Well, you could break it open.
We?
Well, you want me in on this, don't you? I might get it cracked by a friend of mine.
Could you?
I expect so. There's a risk, but you don't mind that?
No.
Well, the sooner the better. If there is anything in Willie's story, we'd better work quickly.
But we can't. We're not allowed to leave here.
Well, we can avoid the arm of the law for once.
But how?
Look, I'll park my car at the end of the drive. Then if the police are still about tonight, they won't hear us starting up.
Tonight?
Of course. police whistles.
How long will it take us to get there?
About 2 hours.
We'll be there just after 2.
This is where we employ our specialist.
It's a bit late for that, isn't it?
He only works at night.
How do you get to know people like that?
I've got the most peculiar friend.
You must have.
Well, this one is. He's probably just getting up now. Hello, is that you, Jimmy? This is Robert Irving. I've got a little job for you. No, not strictly legal. Ah, there you are, Jimmy. This is Barbara Cummings.
Quickly. Look, Nippy, for Pete's sake, Gov. There's a couple of coppers on the beat. Come on. This is the one, isn't it? Yes. Go on, shh. Blimey, this is a new racket for you, ain't it, Gov?
Well, it's really Miss Cummings saved Jimmy. She just wants to see inside.
Oh, she just wants to see inside, does she?
Yes, that's right.
Okay, I'm easy. Well, where is it? There it is. Old-fashioned thing. This is going to be simple.
Let's see.
What are you looking for, Gov?
Oh, we've no idea. It might be anything.
No, I know you're balmy.
Looks like a blank, doesn't it?
What could he mean, Robert? In the safe in the office?
Willie might mean anything.
Someone's been pulling your leg, miss.
I don't think so. Door.
I'll fix that, miss. Okay, you can turn the lights on now.
Let's have a look at some of these papers. They might...
Hey! Quiet, for Pete's sake. Hey, Jimmy, take a look at this. Wait, here, give me a hand out with this. Oh, I 10 to 1 if there's any valuables in this office, they're tucked away in there. Fancy me falling for an old dodge like that. After all my experience, deserve to get 6 months.
Well, 3 months anyway.
Now, dead quiet. Shh. Ah, this looks more like it.
Nothing but a list of names.
Here, what's this?
Oh, it's a recording belt.
Recording belt?
Yes, for a dictaphone. Here. Now. I think that's it. Now listen.
It is now 4 days since our last shipment arrived. Why the delay? Remember, neither I nor our customers are prepared to wait. The following need urgent attention. Number 89, 1 consignment. Number 97, 1 consignment. Number 41, 1 consignment.
What does it mean?
Here, let me see. Number 41, 1 consignment. Number 41. Mick O'Ryan, 22 New Battle Lane.
What's that?
Friend of yours?
Yeah, Mick O'Ryan, Mick the dope. Always drugged to the eyebrows when he can. Blimey, Governor, dope. Let's have a look at that box over. That's it, all right. There it is if you want it. Nightmares and slow murder.
But that stuff might mean death to thousands.
What's it doing here, Robert?
Here's your loaf, miss. Someone in this office has been getting it for that bloke we've just been listening to.
In Daddy's office? I don't believe it.
Wait a minute. Couldn't your father have found out about it?
You mean?
It's a filthy business, miss. Why don't you get rid of it, Gov? Chuck it in the river. Blimey, if you'd seen some of the people at
I
ours.
can't believe that Howard...
We don't know that it's Howard. But what we've got to do is to find out who it is and where that stuff changes hands.
Well, if you want to get to the bottom of it, there's one way we can find out. Mick.
Will he tell you?
Don't be silly, miss. He won't talk. But if we was to tell him that there's some of the stuff waiting to be picked up...
Do you know where to find him?
You leave it to me, Gov. Wake up, Mick. Mick, wake up. Listen, I'm telling you something. You've got to get over there tonight and collect the stuff. Now, straight away. Listen, Mick. They don't want the stuff left on their hands. It's odd. Now get your skates on and get over there and collect it. You know where. The usual place. Mick. You might not have been listening. You never know who you are with a dope.
Let's give him another couple of minutes.
I can't understand it. These softies will do anything for a smoke.
Look, there's someone coming.
That's him. being followed.
He's going on.
Anyone there? It's all right, it's me, Mick O'Ryan.
Yes, it looks like it.
Do you think he guessed?
Sharp boys, you know.
Well, there's no point in going on. We can't search London. I haven't the slightest idea where we are.
I know. Second on the right up the road. Victory Cafe. Open all night. That's your best bet.
5:30. Anybody feel like breakfast?
Well, not for me, Gov. I've got to slip off home.
Anything wrong?
Oh, I'm not in by 5. The wife gets a bit worried. Tell 'em, Gov. Cheerio, miss.
Goodbye, Jimmy, and thanks.
Bacon and egg?
Lovely.
Get your excuses ready.
It was your job to keep an eye on them. For all we know, vital evidence might have... Ah, there you are. Right, I suppose you know what you've done.
We can explain.
I hope so, for your sake, miss. I'm leaving you here with Constable Higgins. Mr. Irving, I must ask you to accompany me.
Oh, but Inspector,
This way.
You two have lost me a pension, miss.
Mr. Hughes is waiting for you, miss. He arrived a little while ago.
Do you know what he wants, Mary?
He saw it in the papers, miss. He's in a dreadful state.
Where's Mr. Wainwright?
He's at the police station, miss. They all are. The inspector was in a flaming temper when he found you'd gone. He packed them off to the village straight away. Mr. Hughes is in the study, miss.
Right, thank you, Mary.
Oh, my dear Miss Cummings, what a dreadful thing to happen. You must be terribly upset. When I saw it, I hurried down to tell you that I wouldn't dream of bothering you with our little charity idea, at least not at the moment.
Of course, it was a shock, but the dead man wasn't a friend of ours. In fact, none of us knew him. At least, I don't think so.
Well, I'm very glad to find that you're not as upset as I was afraid you might be. You know, I came down here prepared to scrap our plan.
Oh, there's no need to do that. It'll give me something else to think about.
Well, if you're quite sure. I went ahead, as you said. Oh, by the way, there is one thing I'd like to look at since I am here. Have you a room or cottage where the workmen could live whilst they're making the alterations?
Well, there's the big barn at the back.
It's no longer in use, I take it.
No, they're welcome to it.
Is it far away?
Come now, show it to you.
Oh, thank you.
If Higgins will let us out of the house.
Oh, yes, yes, of course. We mustn't get on the wrong side of the law, must we?
You can still see the house back there. The barn's beyond these bushes.
Certainly well tucked away. You're quite sure it's never used?
No, never.
May we look inside?
Yes, of course.
Secluded little place. It'll do perfectly.
These are the stables. The barn itself is through here. Why, Willie, I didn't expect to find you here.
Well, this will do admirably if we can use this. I really ought to be going. I didn't realize it was so late. the devil is he following us?
Oh, Willie's all right. He doesn't mean any harm. Goodbye, Mr. Hughes.
Goodbye, Miss Cummings.
Ah, there you are, my dear. That inspector only just let us away.
Oh, where's Robert?
I'm afraid the police are keeping him.
What?
They seem to think he's keeping something back.
That poor man, Miss Barbara.
What do you want, Willie?
That poor man. He had a withered hand.
Well, we must be off. Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Thank you so much for your hospitality. I'm sorry you've had so much trouble.
What man, Willie?
That poor man who went away. He hasn't got a hand. It's just a claw.
What's he talking about? Who was here?
If I were you, Howard, I shouldn't pay any attention to Willie.
But who did he see? Who went away?
The only person that Willie saw was Mr. Hughes
Hughes.
from the charity. I wonder why they're keeping Robert. I can't understand what's happened to Robert. He hasn't done anything.
I suppose not.
Why don't they phone? He's been away all day.
This is a serious business, Barbara. They don't look on murder lightly, even these days.
Was it murder?
They believe so.
There he is now.
I thought I was in for life.
Robert.
We shan't require you, miss. That'll be all. You're free to come and go so long as you're able to keep in touch. I'm taking Higgins away. You won't need him now.
Well, is that wise, Inspector? Anything might happen.
And what exactly were you expecting, Mr. Wainwright?
Well, nothing, but...
In that case, Higgins will return with me. Good night.
Good night, Inspector.
Good night. I'm glad you're back.
Not half as glad as I am.
Well, Barbara, this business has upset me a little. I'm not feeling so good. I think I'll go to my room.
Oh, I'm sorry you're not well.
Oh, I'll be all right in the morning. Good night.
Just a minute, Wainwright. I'd like a word with you.
Well, what do you want?
Exactly how far are you mixed up in this game?
I've no idea what you're talking about.
You knew Leonard.
Who?
The man who was killed in the marshes.
Well,
it's too late to start bluffing, Wainwright. Willie saw you together before the duck shoot. I'd hate to think you knew what he was up to and led Barbara towards him.
Let me go. Do you think I'd do a thing like that?
And what do you keep in your office safe? What was it the Colonel found before he died?
I keep nothing there. What is this? Barbara, I appeal to you.
We visited your office last night, Howard.
What?
Now listen, we none of us have much time for explanations. Your friend moves quickly.
Well, what friend are you talking about?
The fellow who gives you instructions on dictaphone tape and over the telephone, the man you're working for. You'd better start talking, Wainwright. Your own life may be at stake.
I tell you, I don't know him. I don't even know his name.
Do you know anything about him?
Well, he peddles dope. I stored some for him. It started as an accident. I didn't realize...
That's all right. What else do you know?
Nothing, except that he has a withered hand.
You know Mick O'Ryan, too, don't you?
Well, what about him?
Do you recognize that?
I think so.
He was found strangled early this morning.
That's the man we followed.
Yes, it must have happened just a few minutes after we left him.
How horrible.
I don't understand.
It's simple, Wainwright. Too simple to be healthy. Mick was the weak link in the chain. He led us from the dope in your office to the man behind the racket. The trouble is, we lost him at the crucial moment. Mick paid for it, and we're none the wiser.
But he was murdered.
Pretty savagely.
You were following him?
Yes.
Then he must have seen you.
That's my guess, too.
You shouldn't have let the police go. We should have had more protection for Barbara, for all of us. Why did you let Higgins go?
Are you frightened?
Are you blind? Don't you realize what you've done? It's an invitation to the fiend. First Leonard, then O'Ryan. He'd stop at nothing to keep you quiet.
Come on out into the open, Wainwright, and let us know which way to turn to defend ourselves. Who is this man?
I don't know, I tell you. I don't know.
Here, you look as though you could do with a little of this.
I'm going to bed. I shall lock my door. I should advise you both to do the same.
Oh, Robert, I've been so terrified without you.
Well, it's worthwhile spending a day in jail to know you feel like that about me.
No, seriously. Last night was bad enough, but it's been simply awful waiting for you today. I felt so terrified. And now this.
Orion was murdered because of us, I'm sure of it.
Because of us?
Somebody thought he was giving the game away, and that somebody knows about us. He knows we're hot on his heels.
But we don't know who he is.
I know, but he thinks we do. We were following Mick, therefore we must be dangerous. That's why I asked the inspector to take Higgins away.
Why?
Because the murderer is much more likely to chance his arm if we're not being watched by a policeman.
But do you think...
I'm certain of it.
But how can we tell who he is?
We can't.
Or where he might be?
We don't know. He might be in this house at this very moment.
Oh.
Barbara, don't be too worried about it. The police won't be too far away. In any case, it may be weeks or even months before he catches up with us. But on the other hand, you see, I want to put you on your guard, but I don't want to frighten you.
I'm not frightened while you're around.
Good.
So, we sit and wait.
Well, your father once told me that when he wanted to kill a tiger, he used to tie a goat to a tree and hide in the branches.
Which of us is the goat?
I'll toss you for it. Do you realize, Barbara, this is the first moment of peace and quiet that we've had?
Like your idea of peace and quiet.
Well, perhaps now you'll be able to tell me some of the things that have been happening to you during these last few years.
No, there's been nothing very much. I want to hear all about you.
I'm afraid I'm not very interesting.
You've been very successful.
Oh, I sold a few books, if that's what you mean, but nothing important happened to me. Like falling in love. Did you?
Several times.
Oh?
And out again.
Barbara.
It's a strange time to find out just how friendly we are, isn't it?
One time is as good as another.
Are we still playing, Robert?
I don't think so.
Is this a new version of our old game?
Something tells me this game is going to last a long time.
Perhaps it was outside.
Listen. I'm going to see what it is. You better wait here. Hi, it's you, Higgins.
Yes, sir.
Did you see anybody?
Did, sir.
Did you hear anything?
No, sir.
Where's the inspector?
Up at the stable, sir.
Keep back. Take your hands off her. Stop there. So it was you, Hugh. Don't be a fool, Wainwright. You're in the same spot that I am. You killed her father.
Howard.
Don't listen to him, Barbara. Of course he did. I can prove it. Barbara, I want you to telephone the police.
You'll hang for this, Wainwright.
Go on, Barbara.
You fool.
Willie.
You... all right, Miss Barbara?
Willie.
Barbara, what happened?
It was Hughes.
Hughes, which way did he go?
Through the windows.
Mr. Irving, contact both gates and stop anybody in the grounds. There's not much we can do for him, miss.
I'm afraid not.
Both gates are covered, sir. There's marshland on two sides of the estate and the patrol cars on the other. You stop here. You might double back.
What is it, Willie?
I had to shoot that man, miss.
You didn't shoot anyone, Willie.
I did, miss. That bad man on the marsh. He was going to shoot you. I had to do it.
He's not round here, Inspector.
Leave this to us, Mr. Irving. This fellow's armed.
He's probably heading for the gate.
You stay, Higgins, and keep an eye on the house.
Someone's just gone up there, sir.
Mr. Irving, come back! Pull that light on. Get in touch with the other patrols. Tell them to start closing in. There he is!
Come back, Robert!
Stay where you are.
Don't make things any worse for yourself, Hughes.
This water's pretty deep, you know, even for a tall man. Can you swim?
Look, Hughes, what about striking a bargain?
You think I'm mad? Get back along that gangway.
One shot and you'll have more around you.
Yes, your friends are closer than I thought. Start walking. The other way, you fool! Get up. Which way, sir? By the ridge.
Seems to be selling well, doesn't it?
Yes, depraved taste the public have.
Well, you wrote it.
Hello, Gov. Hello, Mrs.
Hello,
Elliot.
Jimmy.
I was just going to pay for it, but he looked the other way.
Jimmy, I thought you were going straight.
So I am. Can't stop now. There's a gent looking for me. Did you notice which way that little fellow you were talking to went?
That way.
No, that way. Quick.
Thanks.
Thought you were going straight, Robert.
I am from now on.